Hello and welcome to Newsweek South Asia, your one-stop destination for in-depth analysis of security challenges, regional conflicts and the evolving threat of terrorism. Let's take a look at the headlines first. India-Fiji slam double standards on terror vows stronger Indo-Pacific security. Indian security forces thought terrorist infiltration bid in Jammu and Kashmir, 2 terrorists neutralized. And Pakistani terrorist Masood Azhar's JEM using digital wallets to raise terror funds. India's growing footprint in global security once again came to the forefront this week. In a week marked by high-level diplomacy and tough messaging, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Fiji's Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka not only expanded defence and maritime cooperation, but also delivered a strong call for zero tolerance towards terrorism. Their joint stand comes at a time when cross-border terrorism continues to claim innocent lives in South Asia, as seen in the recent Pahalgam attack, and when double standards by certain states threaten to weaken the global fight against terrorism.
Fiji's Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka arrived in India on a 3-day official visit, his first since taking office. In New Delhi, he held comprehensive talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, focusing on strengthening bilateral ties across multiple sectors. 7 agreements were signed, ranging from healthcare and skill development to trade and capacity building. During the joint press briefing, Prime Minister Modi underlined the shared aspirations of 2 nations, saying India and Fiji may be oceans apart, but our aspirations sail in the same boat. Both sides rejected double standards on terrorism and reaffirmed their determination to fight the menace together.
हम एकमत है कि आतंकवाद पूरी मानवता के लिए बहुत बड़ी चुनौती है। आतंकवाद के खिलाफ हमारी लड़ाई में सहयोग और समर्थन के लिए हम प्रधानमंत्री रंबुका और फिजी सरकार का आभार व्यक्त करते हैं।
India's contribution to countering terrorism has long been acknowledged at the global stage. From fortifying its borders and launching precision strikes against terror launchpads to pushing for comprehensive convention on international terrorism at the United Nations, New Delhi has consistently taken the lead. India has not only secured its own territory against infiltrations, but also extended counter-terror training, intelligence sharing and capacity building to partner nations, including those in Africa, Southeast Asia and now the Pacific.
India is definitely a leading voice, a principled voice, a consistent voice, persistently talking about the dangers of radicalism and terrorism. The priorities actually in the world are changing also, especially for the West. For the West now, terrorism or radicalism, it doesn't seem to them to be a top priority. The top priority for the United States and Europe maybe are others as compared to a priority for India. That's another issue. But India has been articulating at all global forums wherever possible about the need, the urgent need. Prime Minister Modi has been talking at every convention summit that is there, be it bilateral or multilateral, about the need to remove radicalism as a thought in the global narrative and to eliminate any sources of terror and to go after them and to deliver justice.
At the other extreme is Pakistan.
But what makes India's stance unique is its clarity in calling out state-sponsored terrorism. Unlike many nations that shy away from naming perpetrators, India has repeatedly exposed Pakistan's role in financing, sheltering and exporting terror groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed. Even as Islamabad continues its doublespeak at global platforms, India's diplomatic efforts have ensured that the world sees through Pakistan's duplicity. This was evident when Modi-Rabuka joint statement categorically rejected double standards in dealing with terrorism. a direct rebuttal to the selective narratives often peddled by Pakistan.
Pakistan definitely, yes, claims itself to be a victim of terrorism also, right? But from our point of view, from India's point of view, whatever Pakistan may be a victim of its own internal terror, but Pakistan is causing terror in our sovereignty also. Pakistan should learn to live and let live. That is the only way ahead for Pakistan. It should learn to live and let live with India.
On the one hand, there is India, which is a major
Today,
democracy.
India is not only a frontline state in the battle against terror, but also a global partner shaping counter-terror norms. With advanced surveillance systems, anti-terror legislation like the UAPA, and international partnerships through forums like the Quad, BRICS and SCO, India has established itself as a strong pillar against violent extremism.
India's partnerships and memberships in organizations like the BRICS, the Quad, the SCO help in the sense that any statement which comes out of these summits, see, at the end of a summit there is normally a joint statement which comes out, right? So in all the joint statements by any of these organizations and bodies, India makes sure, tries its best to have the right language in the statement which expresses the concerns of that organization, be it the BRICS, be it the SCO, be it Quad, or even any bilateral meets which Prime Minister has. We will see that in all of them, the official statements at the end, the communique, always carries a reference to terrorism. So India brings it into the very global architecture.
As terrorism continues to evolve with new tactics, India's comprehensive approach, combining military strength, intelligence sharing, diplomatic outreach and zero tolerance for double standards, positions it at the forefront of the global fight against extremism. In contrast to nations that fuel instability, India's consistent commitment to peace and security underscores its role as a reliable partner in shaping a safer world order.
History of supporting, training and funding terrorist organizations.
Now let's turn our attention to the region of Jammu and Kashmir in India, where a persistent challenge continues as terrorists based in Pakistan persist in their attempts to infiltrate. Their primary objective is to smuggle arms and ammunition across the border with the intent of orchestrating terror attacks and destabilizing the peaceful atmosphere within the Union territory.
Two terrorists attempting to infiltrate through the Gurez sector of Bandipora district were gunned down by the Indian Army under Operation Naushera Nar 4. The encounter erupted near Naushera Nar, where troops spotted suspicious movement and engaged a group of infiltrators. A heavy exchange of fire followed, resulting in the elimination of two terrorists. Sources say 5 more terrorists could still be hiding in the area. At first light, Indian Army troops launched a massive search operation to ensure that no other infiltrators remained in the vicinity. The bodies of the slain terrorists were recovered during the sweep. In an official update, the Indian Army said that the operation was based on intelligence inputs from Jammu and Kashmir police, confirming that terrorists opened indiscriminate fire when challenged, but were swiftly neutralized.
You must understand is that the length of LOC, that is line of control, is about 790 kilometers, and it is manned by the Indian Army. And Indian Army has a very strong anti-infiltration grid which is placed there. Now what it simply means is, what do they have? They have firstly a surveillance system in which radars are there, handheld thermal imagers are there, then there are unattended ground sensors, there are things like LOROS, etc. Meaning there are various kinds of electronic devices are there in addition to the physical observation which keeps the LOC under watch, and the watch is more intense during night time, because generally the modus operandi is the infiltration takes place at night time, infiltration takes place when it is snowing or raining, infiltration takes place when it's a dark night. So therefore, during this time when the possibility of infiltration increases quite a lot, the Indian Army is more alert, and the success rate of stopping infiltration on the LOC is nearly 95%, meaning almost most of the terrorists get killed on the border itself, on the LOC itself. And then there are many launch pads are there, we fire upon them, we stop them from coming inside. So the counter-infiltration grid is quite effective. That is one thing that we have to understand, and this is what happened in Bandipora just some time back, in which we were able to kill the terrorists who were trying to come inside.
This is not an isolated incident. Earlier this month, 3 terrorists were killed and 1 soldier injured under Operation Akhal. The encounter in the dense Akhal forest area lasted nearly 2 weeks, involving drones, helicopters and hundreds of security personnel. 6 terrorists in total were eliminated in the operation, all linked to the Resistance Front, a Lashkar-e-Taiba proxy. This group had previously claimed responsibility for the brutal Pahalgam terror attack that killed 26 civilians. Intelligence sources have disclosed the presence of numerous terror camps in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, which collaborate with Pakistani security agencies to facilitate infiltrations into India. These terrorists not only receive training but also logistical support and weapons to carry out their activities in Jammu and Kashmir. According to intelligence agencies, since 2021, Pakistan has been pushing a new breed of infiltrators, battle-hardened fighters trained in Afghanistan. Unlike earlier terrorists, these men use remote ridges and dense forests as their hideouts, forcing prolonged encounters and putting additional strain on security forces.
See, what happens is at night time, when weather is adverse, the 2 things happen. Your visibility reduces. All this area is in the region of, the height in this area is about 3,000 feet to nearly 12,000 feet, and most of the area is covered with trees and jungles. So therefore, identifying terrorists trying to infiltrate at night requires visible confirmation, in addition to confirmation through LOROS or confirmation through radars, etc. Now we have handheld thermal images are there, which are quite effective. LOROS is quite effective. So first most important thing is to track, keep a watch on the launching pads which are right up to on the LOC, from where the terrorists with the help of local guides come inside and try and come through the nalas, through the ravines, through the jungles, and try and cross the infiltration grid which has been laid by the Indian Army.
Since the abrogation of Article 370 and Article 35A in August 2019, Jammu and Kashmir has been experiencing the dividends of peace. The region has witnessed substantial development, attracting investments in sectors such as tourism, hospitality, retail, and manufacturing. However, this progress does not align with the agenda of neighboring Pakistan, and it offers terrorists an opportunity to infiltrate the Union territory and disrupt its tranquility. Despite international warnings, terror camps across line of control remain functional, preparing infiltrators to launch fresh attacks in Jammu and Kashmir. Each infiltration attempt underscores Islamabad's doublespeak, posing as a victim of terror while actively nurturing extremist networks on its own soil. Pakistan's persistent efforts to undermine peace in India, orchestrated from the shadows, have unfortunately become a recurring issue. Despite internal challenges, including a struggling economy, Pakistan continues to support terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. In contrast, India maintains a well-structured framework to counteract such threats and safeguard the region's peace and stability.
In yet another reminder of Pakistan's neglect, the people of Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan are battling devastating floods alone. In Gizir district, rising waters have cut off access, leaving dozens stranded and desperate. No relief teams, no rescue measures, only abandonment. The suffering population has condemned Islamabad's incompetent regime for turning its back on them in their darkest hour, proving once again that their lives and safety hold no value for those in power. We have a report.
In a region long abandoned by Islamabad, fresh floods have unleashed a humanitarian disaster in Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan. Vital roads in Gezer district's Roshan Talidas Nala village lie buried under water, homes stand destroyed, and livelihoods have been swept away. Yet, no timely rescue or relief has arrived. Betrayed once again, the people are forced to fight for survival with their own hands, an unforgivable testament to the regime's apathy and indifference towards their suffering.
इस वक्त मैं बड़ो सिंह मेन रोड के ऊपर हूँ और यहाँ पे आप देख रहे हैं कि मेन रोड बिल्कुल पानी की ज़िद में आया है। मेरे बैक साइड पे आप देखेंगे यहाँ पे डॉक्टर इफ्तिखार मरहूम डॉक्टर इफ्तिखार का घर जो इस वक्त पानी की ज़िद में है और यहाँ से पानी बैक साइड से फुटबॉल ग्राउंड से इंटर होती है, बैक साइड से पानी यहाँ पे आया हुआ है। अभी थोड़ा सा बैक साइड जो है थोड़ा सा गहरा है, इस वजह से पानी यहाँ पे आहिस्ता आहिस्ता यहाँ पे पानी झील बनना शुरू हो रहा है, लेकिन ये इस साइड में इतनी तेज़ी से हो रहा है कि रोड मेन रोड अभी इस वक्त बिल्कुल ख़त्म हो चुका है। और आगे जो गाजी अपना फौजी रिटायर अपना गाजी उनके जो 2 दुकानें पानी की ज़िद में, तो उनसे हमने सामान निकाला, रेस्क्यू किया है। और आगे इस वक्त हमारे मैंने अपना प्रीवियस नज़र साहब इंजीनियर इनके बिल्कुल जो ना रोड वहाँ भी पानी की ज़िद में है। इस वक्त जो है आप देख रहे हैं बिल्कुल ये एरिया पूरा पानी से झील बना हुआ है।
With no government-led evacuation, ordinary men and women in Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan are risking their own lives to rescue neighbors and salvage what little remains. Their cries for help echo a harsh truth. Here, political exploitation always outweighs human survival, and disaster preparedness is nothing but a cruel illusion. Once again, the oppressed are left abandoned, bearing the cost of a regime's betrayal in the face of a catastrophe.
मेरी जो ड्यूटी थी डीजे हाई स्कूल गुप्स में, तो मैं ड्यूटी के लिए आया था, तो यहाँ के मुझे सूरत हाल बिल्कुल तब्दील नज़र आया। और अभी हम से वापस जो है ना घर की तरफ जा रहे हैं, लेकिन यहाँ से कोशिश करें कि लोगों को हम रेस्क्यू करें। कुछ सामान हमने निकाला है और कुछ घरों को हम कोशिश करें कि उनके सामान थोड़ा ऊपर सेफ साइड कर ले। तो ये सूरत हाल आप देख रहे हैं।
Floods have once again ravished POGB, but the real disaster is Islamabad's betrayal. In a region long denied rights and representation, people now face not just raging waters, but total abandonment. No rescue, no relief, only silence from a failed regime. This is no natural calamity alone. It is a man-made tragedy, born of decades of neglect, mismanagement and exploitation under Pakistan's incompetent rule.
Pakistan's terror nexus is once again exposed. After India's Operation Sindoor dismantled Jaish-e-Mohammed strongholds in Bahawalpur, the group is regrouping with state backing. Terrorist Masood Azhar's family is openly raising funds through Pakistani digital wallets. Their target, 3.91 billion Pakistani rupees to establish over 330 new terror camps. With propaganda flooding Facebook and WhatsApp, JEM is trying to lure fresh recruits. To shed further light on this alarming development and its far-reaching implications, we are now joined by Foreign Affairs expert Abhinav Pandya, the founder and CEO of the USANAS Foundation. He will help us understand Pakistan's latest moves, the revival strategy of Jaish-e-Mohammed, and what all this means for security and stability in South Asia. Hello, sir. Welcome to the show. So my first question is, despite suffering a major blow in Operation Sindoor, Jaish-e-Mohammed is openly raising funds in Pakistan. What does this say about Pakistan's approach to terrorism?
Well, I have always held that terrorism is Pakistan's state policy and terrorist and extremist actors are not just the pawns in the hands of Pakistani army, but they are the major stakeholders in the Pakistani army. In fact, you can say in many manners they are the partners in the state governance systems and the Pakistani army. Pakistani army itself has a very strong radicalized component of people who subscribe to Deobandi extremist ideologies, to which organizations like Jaish-e-Mohammed and Taliban also subscribe. Now let me tell you that after the Pahalgam attack, India struck deep inside the Pakistani territory, targeting bases like Bahawalpur and Muridke. Pakistan is seething with rage and anger, and they are out. They are hell-bent on taking revenge. We have killed 13 family members of Masood Azhar in that attack. So he is seething for revenge. He is desperate for revenge.
Pakistan continues to deny Masood Azhar's presence on its soil, yet accounts linked to his family are now receiving donations. How do you view this duplicity?
Well, Pakistan has always denied the presence of Masood Azhar on its soil, and Pakistan will continue to do so. But Pakistan has always supported these jihadist groups against India. In fact, I must say they are the part and parcel. I should say the key stakeholders in Pakistan state, because Pakistan state is ultimately an Islamic state. And in Pakistan they say Pakistan se rishta kya, la ilaha illallah. So that's the basis of that state, which is based on hatred and exclusivism. So they will continue to support terror actors. Now coming to Jaish using the digital wallets for raising terror finances. They activate 30 digital wallets every month. These wallets are linked to the family members of Masood Azhar. So now FATF cannot trace these digital wallets because they have access to the banking institutions but not to these digital instruments and decentralized financial institutions. So I think this is a very new, innovative and a novel method of terror, of raising terror finances, and I'm sure as long as they are based in Pakistan and doing within the Pakistani territory, Pakistani state will be fully supporting them.
From the 2001 Parliament attack to the 2019 Pulwama bombing and the recent Pahalgam attack, Pakistan-backed groups have carried out major assaults on India. Why has the world failed to hold Pakistan accountable for decades of cross-border terrorism?
Pakistan has supported cross-border terrorism in India since 1990. We saw that Pakistan unleashed a spate of nasty and deadly terrorist actors like Lashkar-e-Taiba, Harkatul Mujahideen and Jaish-e-Mohammed in India. They orchestrated some of the most lethal Fidayeen attacks, including the 2001 Parliament attack, 26/11 Mumbai attacks, and the latest, the Pulwama attack, and finally the Pahalgam attack. But world has not yet held Pakistan accountable for these terror attacks. This is because of the geopolitics of terrorism. We must understand that terrorist organizations, terror actors operate not in vacuum, but they operate only if they are supported by state actors and if they have backers. Now Pakistan is supporting these terror groups, and Pakistan has strong support coming from the Western countries, particularly the US and also China. These countries hold veto power in the UN. So these countries have shown sort of a moderating attitude, sort of a lenient and soft attitude towards Pakistan. We saw that in Pakistan, whenever India tried to get Masood Azhar designated as a global terrorist, China raised objections to it. Even Americans have not taken sufficient action against Pakistan-linked Islamist groups and charities based in the US. So as long as the West continues to ignore what Pakistan is doing, as long as the bigger power continue to ignore what Pakistan is doing, Pakistan will never be held accountable.
Radicalization remains rampant in Pakistan, with terror groups freely spreading propaganda online. How is this fostering a new generation of extremists, not just in Pakistan but across South Asia?
Radicalization is a major threat to human society, not just in Pakistan but in entire South Asia and perhaps across the globe, in other parts of the world also, US and Europe also. And this is getting more and more serious because in various parts of the world, the local Islam is getting subdued and completely replaced by the extremist pan-Islamist ideas coming from Wahhabi extremism or Salafism. Organizations like Muslim Brotherhood and Jamaat-e-Islami are spreading their tentacles and completely influencing dominating the local Islamist traditions which were based on Sufi tenets and Sufi ideas. So because of that, the local individual Muslims are living in, even in remote areas, are coming under the influence of global Islam. Secondly, the online mediums and social media have become a potent way to spread that radical jihadist strain of Islam. We see that ISIS is using artificial intelligence to propagate, to radicalize, to recruit the Muslims across the world in smaller villages, in remotest part of the South Asia, in India, and also in other parts of the world. So because of that, the new technological innovations, that is the free flow of information through these new technological innovations, radicalization and recruitment have become very, very easy.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights, sir. That's all we have for you on this edition of Newsweek South Asia. We'll be back next week with deeper insights and sharp analysis on the stories shaping the region. Until then, do write to us at nwsa@ann.com. This is Shivangi Mishra signing off on behalf of the entire team. Stay informed, stay safe.